All right, today we're jumping into something that's, well, absolutely essential in Python, file handling. Think of it like this. It's the magic trick that finally gives your code a memory. It's how you get it to remember stuff long after you've hit close.
Have you ever noticed this? You write this awesome script, right? It does some cool calculation, maybe it asks for your name, and then you close it. The moment you run it again, poof, it's all gone. It has no idea who you are or what it just did. It's like your program has total amnesia.
So why does that happen? Well, all that info, your variables, the results, it's all stored in temporary memory. And when the program stops, that memory gets completely wiped clean. But what if you don't want it to forget? What if you need to save that data for good? That, my friends, is exactly what we're here to fix.
Okay, so how do we actually do this? The secret sauce is a really simple but super powerful function called open. Just think of it as the master key to any file on your computer. All you gotta do is give it two things. First, the name of the file, and second, something called the mode. And the mode is just you telling Python what you want to do with that file.
Now to get started, there are really just three modes you need to know. First up is R, for read. Super simple, it just lets you look at what's inside a file. Then you've got W for write. This lets you put new stuff in, but, and you gotta listen to this, it will totally erase anything that was already there. Finally, there's A for append. This is the nice, safe way to add new info to the end of a file without blowing away what you already have. Okay, theory school, but let's actually put this stuff into practice. Let's start with the first core action, reading files. How do we get that data out of a file and into our running program?
It's basically a simple three-step dance. Step 1, you use open with your file name and the R mode. Step 2, you use the .read method to literally pull all the text out and stick it in a variable. And step 3, and please don't forget this part, you have to call .close. This is like hanging up the phone. It tells Python you're finished with the file.
Hey, just a quick pro tip for you. If you're ever working with a really massive file, I'm talking a giant log file or a huge chunk of data, read.read is a bad idea. It'll try to load the whole thing into memory and could totally bog down your computer. The much smarter way is to use a for loop. It just reads the file one line at a time. Way more efficient. All right, moving on to core action number 2. Writing to files. This is the flip side, right? This is how we take stuff from our program, like a user's name or the answer to a math problem, and save it for later.
And you know what? The process is going to look super familiar. You open the file, but this time you use the W mode. Then you use the .write method to put your text in. And you guessed it, you finish by calling .close. It really is that simple. Okay, hang on. I have to stop right here and give you a huge warning. Write mode, that little W, is destructive. I mean it. If that file already has something in it, W mode will wipe it out completely. Gone. Forever. There is no undo button. So you have to be 100% sure you mean to overwrite that file before you use W.
And that scary warning leads us perfectly into our third and much safer action, appending. This is what you'll want to use 90% of the time when you're just adding new information, because it doesn't destroy what's already there. And take a look at the code. See? It looks almost exactly the same as writing. The only tiny change is that we use an A for append mode instead of W. Now, when you use .write, the new text just gets tacked on right at the end. Your original data is totally safe.
Whew! Okay, so you've got the basics down. You know how to open, read, write, and close. But now, let me show you the modern, safer, and honestly, the pro way to handle files. It's called the with statement. And the difference isn't small, it's huge. See, the old way makes you responsible for remembering to call .close, 1-0. It's easy to forget. But with the pro way, you use this with, open, blah, blah, blah as syntax. Everything you do with the file happens inside that little indented block, and the moment you leave it, Python cleans up after you automatically. It's cleaner, easier to read, and way less error-prone.
So what makes it so much safer? Well, the with statement is just smarter. As soon as your code is done with that indented block, bam, Python closes the file. It's guaranteed. It even works if your code crashes with an error. This prevents a really common bug where files get left open by accident, which can cause all sorts of nasty problems down the road.
So we've gone deep on the how to do this stuff, but let's zoom out and talk about the why. Like, why does any of this actually matter? Let's connect this code to real things you can build. I mean, think about it.
You could save the high score in a game you're making. You could store a list of usernames for an app. You could log every error that happens in your program to a file. Save the results of some big, heavy calculation. You could even store a chat history. Seriously, once you have this skill, the possibilities are just endless.
Okay, you've seen the concepts, you've seen the code, you've seen why it's so useful. You know what they say? The best way to really learn something is to actually do it. So, you ready to put it into practice?
Here's your challenge. I want you to write a quick program that asks the user for two things, their name and their age. Then take that info and save it to a file named users.txt. And here's the key. Use append mode, A, so that every time you run the program, it adds a new user instead of wiping out the old ones. Give it a shot.
And there you have it. That's the whole shebang on Python file handling. You now have the power to give your code a memory, to make it remember things. You've cured your programs of their amnesia. So, the real question now is, what are you going to teach them?